and I lost my job. And at that point of time, I was married and I had financial commitments. At that point of time, I took up a sales job in an ad tech firm. Whoever is in sales job, they know that job security is almost zero. I did not jump into SQL or Python because I know that is something very difficult. Yeah, I faced more than 650 plus rejections. I've applied to more than 700 plus companies.
So someone graduated from the BCom stream, after that worked here and there for some time. Then unfortunately COVID hit and he lost his job due to COVID for a year. But anyhow, he had to feed his family, and that was the reason he started working in the sales job. But hats off to his hunger and passion to learn something new and to move into the tech job. And you won't believe that currently he's working as a data analyst in top-notch product-based company, that too with an amazing package. And this is the story of our guest speaker, and that is gonna be super motivational, inspiring, informative for all the aspiring data analysts and data professionals. So make sure to watch it till the very end. You will learn a lot from this video. And recently you would have seen that I have launched my own platform, and we are now Grow Data Skills. And for all the aspiring data engineers, I have launched 3-month fast track data engineering bootcamp Noob 1.0 batch, which will be starting from 3rd of June. So if you have not enrolled yourself in this bootcamp as of now, do it, hurry up. I have provided the link in the description and also the coupon code, which will be expiring really soon. So if you are an early bird and don't want to miss that opportunity, then enroll right now. All right, so thank you so much, Dishad, for joining me in this podcast. I'm really excited to have a discussion with you around your journey. But it would be really great if you can give a short introduction to our audience, anything about your past and current professional background, academic background.
Yeah, sure. First of all, hi Shashank, and thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Big fan of yours already. And hi everyone, my name is Dishad and I am from Guwahati, Assam, northeastern state of India, very beautiful place. Currently, I'm living in Hyderabad. So I'm a BCom graduate, majored in accounts and finance from Christ University, Bangalore. I worked as a financial analyst for a bank, Australian New Zealand banking group. After that, I worked as a business analyst for a very small firm called as RR Auto Agency. Then my sales career started for a brief time, around 1.5 years for 2 companies. And currently, I'm working as a data science and analytics department as a data analyst for 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗃𝗃, an IT product-based company.
How was your life after completing your graduation? Where and how did you get your first job? Just share these things with us, like how everything started for you.
Yeah, sure. After my graduation, I thought life would be very great, having a corporate job, and I had no idea what life is going to throw at me. So, I was not that much of prepared. I was placed as a financial analyst for a bank, ANZ Bank. It was a campus placement. Through that, I got in ANZ Bank. So there, I worked for 1 year and 2 months. So the last 2 months was basically a time where the company gave me a chance to look for other opportunities, because the process which I was into, due to some company's backlashes, it was being sold to a different bank, a DBS Bank Singapore. So we were given 2 options. So one was to do an IJP to a different process, or I could go and find for other opportunities. So I chose the later one, because sticking to the very same company, I thought, what if the same scenario it comes again? So again, I have to go for, better late than never. So I went out of that organization. It was a very first organization, so I always have respect for that, irrelevant of what I have been through. So after that, I got a job opportunity from a very small organization. It's into automobile and retail. I worked there as a business analyst. Name wise it is business analyst, but work wise it was not like a business analyst. There I worked for 3.5 years. My role was more into data entry and documentation of the workflow. So it was in my home city, that is Guwahati, Assam. There I worked there for 3.5 years. Then after that, COVID happened, unfortunately, in the year 2020, and I lost my job. And at that point of time, I was married and I had financial commitments. I had a family to look after, and it was quite a hurdle that I faced, and I would never forget the phase that I've been through. So, and after that, there was a gap of around 6 to 8 months. I was looking for jobs, and all the jobs which are there are of IT jobs which I do not have the skills for. And most of the companies, what they did, they either freeze the hiring process or they have went for layoffs at that point of time. So I was pretty scared whether I'll get a job or not. So by hook or by crook, I have to do something. At that point of time, I took up a sales job in an ad tech firm. There, I worked as a business development associate and worked there for 4 months. And after that, I went into another dental hygiene company called 𝗃𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗃 or 𝗵𝐾𝗄�smile as of now. So after that, now currently I'm working as a data analyst for Aviva.
So when you started working in the sales job, and obviously you mentioned you had the family commitments, financial crisis. So how were the things for you at that time? Even the salary part, like, was it manageable for all the family expenses?
Yeah, sure. Being a married person, there are a lot of commitments I need to take care of. It's not that like a bachelor's life anymore. So working as a business development associate, more of a calling, the calls I have to make every day. Right? It is a very kind of a toxic environment at that point of time in sales. Everyone knows about it. It's there everywhere in YouTube, in Google, right? So yeah, I've been there, done that 4 months in an ed tech firm, and there were a lot of overtimes that we have to do at that point of time, almost around 12, 13 to 14 hours a day that I have to work. So, and salary was good. No doubt salary was good. Living in a tier 2 city, it was manageable at that point of time. But at the same time, there was no job security in sales. That is a fact. Everyone knows that. Whoever is in sales job, they know that job security is almost zero over there. So that is something that had been eating me a lot. So I used to sit around 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 p.m. in the night. So and I didn't have any personal life of that sort. So there were like few instances where my wife used to be very upset because I was not able to give her the time, and there were no weekends basically for any sales person, because Saturdays and Sundays they have to work. So those were the things, and salary was something which I was getting at that point of time was manageable. Around 45 to 50,000 was good enough at that point of time for me to manage that.
So after all these hurdles, Dishad, when and how did you get the motivation and the right direction to go into the data analyst role?
Yeah.
And I know, like previously, as you mentioned, like business analyst role, finance analyst role, I'm not sure how much that helped you in this journey, but after the sales job, how that has happened?
Yeah, sure. So the financial analyst role was just for the namesake, and the business analyst role was for the namesake. But most of it was into process kind of a role, right? So it was not into an IT or any technical jobs. It was not in that category. So how I got to know about data science or data analyst is a quite interesting one, because in my last sales job, it was a contractual role. So the last 2 months was something where I got to know about what data is and how data can be so effective in making any decision. So it was a small organization for the sales which I was working for, that is 𝗃𝗂𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀, and they were operating in my hometown. And in the last 2 months of the contract which I had, the sales data or the leads that we used to work into or we need to cater to, right? Those stopped coming in as in bulk. And the appointments which we had was very minimum. So that was a red flag for every one of us in the city operations to know that there might be a chance where our operations might get cancelled in the city. So we were quite, scared as to what's going to happen there, right? So after my contract got over, a few days down the line, I got to know that the city operations had been closed completely, and my colleagues were affected because of the layoff. So I had made some few friends in the headquarters in Mumbai. So I spoke to them what exactly had happened. So they told me that data stopped coming into their database. I mean, like, what is this data? Like, how could this data actually help someone to decide whether to start or stop an operation in a city? So I became so curious, because if I can be at that position, which actually help a person or an organization to make any decisions, right? So I might not say that I would be in a better, or let's say my job would be recession proof, but I would be in a better position comparative to the other jobs which are there or that might be affected due to recession. So anything that comes down the line, right? So that is how I got to know about data science and data analytics and data engineer. And secondly, your channel is, I would say, the first landing page that I got, right? So your the roadmaps which you have provided down the line, all the podcast, all the interviews that you have taken, right? All the people that you have brought into your channel to talk to them and how they have changed their career transition. So that is something that motivated me a lot. And after that, the zeal to do something, get out of the sales and get into an IT job was something that pushed me a lot, because after a point of time, somewhere in our society, sales job are not given that much of an respectable job to what they believe, right? So that is also one reason. Another reason I would say to jump into an IT job.
So the kind of challenges you have faced in your journey, beside that, how did you prepare yourself to crack data analyst job? And the main reason to ask this question, like, what all skill sets did you learn step by step, and how? If you can share that roadmap, that guide with the audience, that would be super helpful for them.
Yeah, sure. The financial analyst role and the business analyst role, those did not help me, I would say, even a 10%, because the kind of job or the roles and responsibilities that a data analyst has in an organization is, I would say, it's vast, right? It's nothing compared to what I was doing, because my name suggests financial analyst and business analyst, but the work did not show any of those traits, right? So now, being from a non-CS, non-IT background, commerce graduate, finance and accounts, now being into IT coding is something we need to work a lot to reach there. And first of all, when I got to know about data science, I did not know how to go about this, the structure, right? I did not know what to do first, and then what is the next, and the next, and the next, and where is the end, right? I did not have a proper structure. That is where your channel and few of the other channels that came and actually helped me out, because I was into research mode at that point of time, right? You showed the roadmap, you showed how we should follow, what is the structure, right? As a data engineer or data scientist or as a data analyst, right? So the division between all these things, right? You showed it exactly how I wanted to understand it, right? In a layman's term, right? Or for a person who is not from an IT background. So that actually helped me a lot. Then after that, like, I wanted to know what exactly data analysts do, why they do what they do, right? So that is one thing that I wanted to understand, the structure, what they do, why they do, all those things I wanted to know. Then I took up a course in order to have the structure in my hand right then and there, instead of me going into YouTube or Google and searching for it, because vast knowledge is there in this platform, but I don't know where to start from. So that is the reason I took up a course, but they did not provide me any placement assurance or something like that. So it was only the learn as we go. According to my pace, I had to learn all those things. So that is one thing that I took up. Then after that, the way the structure that I followed was, the first of all, what I did is I did not jump into SQL or Python, because I know that is something very difficult. So I started with very basic level, that is Excel. So I completed Excel. Because there were a few logic that we need to understand, the math part basically, right? All the functions which are there. So that is itself was challenging for me, and itself it felt like a coding for me right there. So Excel was something that I completed first. Then after that, I jumped into Power BI, because that goes hand in hand, right? So Power BI was something easy for me after completing Excel. Then after that, I jumped into Tableau, so that I have a wider variety when it comes to job searching. If they ask for Tableau, I can answer for Tableau, right? So I include Tableau. Then after that, I jumped into SQL. So SQL was something, yeah, it was easy for me after that to understand the logic, why we write what we write in SQL. So if we understand the logic, then SQL will be, cakewalk for anyone. It is not that tough comparatively what Python is. So after completing SQL, I started looking for jobs. I started applying for jobs right away. It took me around 3 months to complete all these things along with an end-to-end project. I took up a project, a data set from Kaggle or anywhere, or I even used your platform, your channel to practice few SQL questions which you have uploaded in your various playlists that you have created in your videos. So like FANG questions, the Uber questions, the SQL questions that have been asked in any of the FANG companies, those are the questions that I have practiced a lot. And data cleaning, data processing, data modeling, all those things that I've practiced from your channel, as well as there is another channel called as Tech TFQ, and also Alex the Analyst, and also a very upcoming YouTuber. His name is Rishabh Mishra. Okay, so he's a senior data analyst. So he have been uploading a lot of videos. So and he uploads in Hindi. So I like when he says select sab kuch from this table. So I like that part. So yeah, so that was something quite good for me. It was easy to grasp, and from all these channels, yeah, I took up all the projects that were there, and I started working on those projects, and also from the course which I have taken, and I started uploading in GitHub and also in my resume, in my LinkedIn profile, and I was very active in all these things. So, and I used to do a lot of late night projects because I used to reach home at around 11 o'clock in the night. Then I sit from 12 o'clock after having my dinner till up to 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. So you would see that I have uploaded those projects at around 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning in LinkedIn. So those are the things that I have done. So these are the skills that I have used. Then after that, I jumped into Python. So I would say I'm not so great in Python as of now, but I would say somewhere between beginner and intermediate, I would consider.
I guess this will be a common question which many people will ask because of the kind of background you had. So when you were applying for jobs, did you face any difficulty because of your sales job background? Did you face rejections? And at the end, how did you convince the companies that you are a good fit for this particular job profile?
Yeah, sure. Yes, rejection is something that we have to face, and being from a non-CS, non-IT background, that is for sure shot you have to go through, no matter what it is. So, yeah, I faced more than 650 plus rejections. I've applied to more than 700 plus companies. I used to make sure that every day I apply around 30 to 40 companies, and going through all those application forms in Workday, it was quite tiring. It consumes around 2 to 3 hours a day. So yeah, 650 plus companies, around 700 companies, and then I still get rejection mails till date as well. So but from those itself, I was shortlisted for 19 companies that gave me an opportunity depending on my skills. So I am very much thankful to those companies, and it was not only for data analyst. I also applied for business analyst, for as a Tableau developer, for Power BI developer, or as a SQL developer. So it was not only fixed to only data analyst. So after on my 18th and 19th organization, I was able to crack those interviews, and out of those two companies that gave me the offer, I selected Aviva as I would say my last where I wanted to be. In order to reach that company, I have to go through all these companies that are going to reject me. So that was something, a mindset, right? Now I see that most of my colleagues or friends that I have been practicing SQL or practicing Python or any of that sort, right? So they have been helping me a lot in many projects before I got the job, and also till date also they are helping me out, right? We solve a lot of different queries. So there is a difference in a mindset. So they easily give up, say like, okay, fine, I'm not getting jobs, what to do? Like they are very complacent when it comes to that. But when your back is against the wall and you have to go front, front is the only way that you have to go. There is no other option. So that is what kept me going all this while.
How to adjust the past experience in our resume means either we should do it or we should completely remove it. Means is it relevant to mention that past experience, even let's say if you are working in sales job or testing job, something like that, and since it was not related to data field, is it worth mentioning that experience in the resume? If you think we should avoid that or we should minimize it, then what's the better way?
Yeah, I believe that, yeah, we should include, but not all of it, right? So I would say minimize it till the time the work is done. So that's what I believe. Now for me, I had two companies sales experience, so I included only one out of it, because that would I somewhere felt that that might be like a negative impact for my resume when it comes to shortlisting, because once I'm shortlisted, then my skills gonna talk. Till the time I'm shortlisted, my resume will do the talking. So in the resume is something that we need to focus a lot. We need to keep on improvising depending on the kind of jobs that we are applying for. It is not that only one way that we need to keep on writing the resume and then we keep on applying it. It's not that way. So we have to keep on changing depending on the requirements. So reading the JD is very important. So that is one thing. And secondly is the jobs. I would say yes, show which are relevant, and also show some of it which are not so relevant, but in a minimized way.
So that's awesome, Dishad. Now I have just one last question to end this podcast. So if you want to compare your growth, like from the point when you started, then how much salary you are getting at this moment at this experience level? Absolutely, I'm not asking for the exact numbers, but I want you to at least give some idea to the audience so that they can also feel motivated. Also, it would be really great if you can summarize your interview experience as well, so that audience can also prepare themselves that if they are going for the data analyst interviews, what all things they need to focus on.
Yeah, sure. I got a good hike. Depending on what I was getting before. In sales, I was getting around, in hand, it was around 6 LPA is something I was getting. So now as a data analyst, the company is giving me around 16.5 LPA. So yeah, so that is what I'm getting. Now coming back to the interview experience which I had, and the things that after sitting through all this 19 to 20 companies, what I believe is that we need to be technically sound, because for me, what it was that I already had around 4+ years of experience. So I was looking for an opportunity that already includes 4+ years of experience in data science or analytics. So according to that, I need to improve my skill sets. So that was one thing that my focus was on. So when it comes to my interview experience in Aviva, I cannot say exactly all of it, but it was 4 rounds of total interview process, out of which 3 were technical and 1 was managerial round. The behavioral round is what we call it. The first 3 rounds was technical. The first 2 rounds was in SQL, and the last round was in Power BI. So that was an in-depth filtration process that they were going through. Basically, they were asking me a lot of questions from beginner to advanced level SQL questions. They would give me a scenario-based questions. They will ask me to write queries on that, and from a very basic level select statement to up to the advanced level of Windows function, CTE, recursive, right? Then also stored procedure is something they asked me as well. So those were of advanced nature, so those questions. So, and I believe that now, since I'm working in the company, I meet all the panelists that were interviewing me. So they are my stakeholders now. So they are from the engineering team, data engineers. So they were the one who were interviewing me in SQL. And they asked me whether I know Python. I said I have no idea of Python. I'm still learning. So they were quite good enough for me to only check with SQL. So, and also Power BI. So Power BI is something that most of the companies, they prefer Power BI, and few of the companies, they focus on Tableau. And so that was something my interview experience was. And the last round was with my hiring manager, with whom I'm working right now. So it was kind of a behavioral round to see whether I fit in the organization properly or not. And before going into that, they give you scenario based, or like I would say gestation questions, right? So they would give you a scenario, and then you have to break it down either from top to bottom or bottom to top, right? So that was something new for me, but since the question made sense to me, I was able to answer him. It is not something that the answer is accurate, but they want to see how logically we approach a situation. So that was something that my interview experience was. And if I'm not looking only in Aviva and also the other organization that I have given interview for, uh, I would say Excel questions will be asked if you are applying for a position that requires Excel. Like for example, most of the business analyst positions requires Excel, or financial analyst position requires Excel. So sometimes SQL might not be in use for them. So all they do is in Excel, right? So Excel question might be asked at that point of time. So I would say I had good enough knowledge to make them understand that I have the skills. And I would say my recruiters were quite good enough to give me this opportunity, even though they know that I am not from an IT background. They gave me a chance. And I would feel that if a person is not from a science background, if he's from a not from an IT background, we should work on our skills more, because for now, why this IT jobs requirement is for people from science background, or BTech or BSc? Why? Because now this students, they are already have the knowledge of statistics and mathematics, right? Now, for a person who is from a non-science, not from a science stream, they might not have the amount of knowledge in maths and statistics, but those are the things that are required for these roles, right? So that's why they prefer science people more than any non-CS or non-IT. But there are a few companies that will definitely give you a chance to prove yourself, right? So like my company, so I was quite fortunate enough to be here at the right time, at the right moment. So yeah, so that is my overall experience.
Absolutely, we need such type of companies. I'm really happy, Dishad, with your growth from where you started, and working with a really good package, working with a really good company as well. So everything is really awesome, and this is something which is gonna motivate thousands of aspiring data analysts. So this is super awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wonderful experience with us. Big thanks from my side and the entire audience side.
Thank you, Shashank. Thank you so much for having me in your podcast today. It is a great pleasure to be here.
So that is what I had for this amazing podcast. I'm pretty sure you are feeling motivated, you are feeling inspired. If yes, then make sure to give so many likes so that this amazing story can reach to all aspiring data professionals. And if you have any thoughts, any opinions, feel free to put it in the comment section. And don't forget to enroll in the Fast Track Data Engineering Bootcamp. I will see you guys really soon with another amazing podcast. Till then, just keep exploring data.